We all know that there are times that we experience the difficulty in answering a specific job interview question. And in my own experience, it was really nerve-wracking to answer such questions if you're really not prepared. So how will you prepare for a job interview? How sure are you that you will pass the job interview? What are the preparations you've done before including yourself in the process in applying for a job? So this video will actually help you out in getting that position that you are targeting, and I hope that you will continue watching along the way. I hope it will help you out.
Hi Kim. So the question, what is your greatest success and your greatest failure?
Please tell me, what makes you unique?
Could you tell me something about yourself that you have not written in your resume or your CV?
First, what are your strengths? And second, what are your weaknesses?
And if they ask you why did you leave the company,
Well, I think it's important to understand first that the CV or the resume is the absolute document that explains the educational background, the professional background, job experiences if there are any, technical skills, soft skills, trainings, and certifications of an individual. It is the gateway that tells the prospective employer or the interviewer why, as a professional individual, that person is qualified for the job he or she is applying for. Typically, in job application processes, the first question that is being thrown to job applicants is this: could you tell me something about yourself? And of course, as the prepared job applicant, your task is to say something about yourself that is related to all the professional information that you have included in your resume or your CV. And that is normal. However, sometimes interviewers can be a little playful and they would tweak the question into something like this: could you tell me something about yourself that you have not written in your resume or your CV? Should job applicants find themselves in a situation such as this, my ultimate recommendation is this: you have to keep your composure and your confidence solid and intact. You have to remind yourself that, hey, this is actually an opportunity for me to share something colorful, interesting, and personal about myself, so I shouldn't be rattled at all. And here are additional specific tips that I want to share to everybody. Number 1, be confident but not arrogant. Number 2, keep your response short enough to maintain the interest of your interviewer, but long enough just to be sure that you have included every information that you want to disclose. Number 3, make your response personal, colorful, interesting, but still relevant to the job that you're applying for. Number 4, this is very important as well, you have to be true to who you are. Don't make up stories and don't make up lies just so you could give a response. And lastly, pitch something interesting, something personal and colorful, but not too private. That's in your lingo. Not too private or not too private. And so, if you're an IT graduate, you may reflect on the things that you do day in, day out. Say, for example, during your spare time, you may probably creating or developing websites or softwares. Or if you're a culinary graduate, maybe you have a YouTube channel wherein you share your recipes or your cooking skills or your techniques to the online world, right? And since I'm an English teacher, and if somebody asks me to disclose something about myself that I have not written on my resume or CV, this is the best response I could give. One thing I could share to you about me is that I like to keep myself productive, especially now that we are on quarantine. I value time so much that I'd like to spend it on activities that help me grow as an individual and as a professional, such as reading books, watching documentaries or TED Talks, or simply attending webinars. I also make educational and entertainment online contents on different portals like YouTube and TikTok, wherein I could showcase my creativity and my skills. In my profession, I believe it is important that I keep myself updated with online trends and technological advancements because that makes me feel more learned, current, and adaptive, which in turn I could apply to my own teaching. The response that I gave talks about 3 characteristics. Number 1, it's current. Number 2, it's personal. And number 3, even if it sounds personal, you are still able to maintain a professional vibe to it. It tells your interviewer that despite the things that you could do which are related to the job that you're applying for, there are other things that you're capable of which you could still relate to the profession that you have chosen, right? And so I hope that response helped you a lot when you're applying for your own jobs, and thank you so much for listening to my advice.
Hi, greetings from Doha. I hope everyone is well and safe in the Philippines. So there are 2 questions assigned to me. First, what are your strengths? And second, what are your weaknesses? First, we need to know why these questions are being asked. The HR interviewer or whoever is interviewing you is asking you these questions because they would like to know if you are aware of your skills and qualifications, if you are aware of what you can bring to the table or what you can add to the company. These 2 questions can also be asked in a different form. It goes something like this. If I am going to call your previous professor or previous manager, how would they describe you? Or if I'm going to ask your colleagues about your work ethics, what do you think they will tell me? The interviewer might ask these 2 questions separately or together. When the interviewer asks you what are your strengths and weaknesses, it's better to answer the weakness first and then strength in order for you to end the answer in a good note. But usually, the interviewer will ask you first on what are your strengths. In order to answer the 2 questions effectively, you need to go back to the job posting and examine it carefully, what is written in there, and compare it to your profile or your CV. You need to be confident in answering this question, however, be mindful not to sound arrogant. So be specific, be relevant, and highlight the skills that you have that matches the skills in the job that you are applying for. In order to answer this question, I'd like you to think of a situation in the past. If you are a fresh graduate, a situation in your previous class or previous group activity. If you are working before, a situation in your previous job that showed your strength, that showed that skill that you would want to highlight. What are the actions that you did and what are the results? So remember, SAR, situation, action, and result. In answering the question, what are your weaknesses? Remember that nobody is perfect. So it's okay to say your weaknesses, your flaws. Think of a weakness that will not disqualify you from the job itself. And then think of a strategy or a plan in order to fix it. So let's go back to the pattern SAR. Think of a situation showing your weakness. What is the action that you did? This is a plan to improve, or if you're doing it already, say so. And last, What do you think will be the result? So SAR.
Hi, Kim. So the question, what is your greatest success and your greatest failure, seems to be an easy question to answer. However, it is actually very tricky. So my advice is that whatever your answer is should show how you as an applicant can add value to their company. Example, so what is your greatest success? Hindi enough na sabihin mo na I was the MVP of our basketball team when I was in college. Dapat dito, you should add the lessons, the values, and the principles that you have learned during your time spent in the basketball team. So, halimbawa, my greatest success was being the MVP of our basketball team in college. I was really proud of myself because I was able to balance my studies and my hobbies. Here, I learned how to interact with my fellow players, and I was able to develop my leadership skills. So dun sa sagot mo, you are signaling that you can lead a number of people in the company you are applying in. So kapareho lang din siya ng greatest failure. So for the greatest failure, you should tell a setback in your life, but you should also tell them how you overcame that certain failure or that certain setback. Again, i-flex mo yung skills, yung values, and the principles that you have learned. Makikita kasi nila dito yung problem-solving skills mo. Halimbawa, when I was in college, I was a very shy person. So I did not join any organizations because I was shy. So I missed a lot of opportunities. After graduation, I had a difficulty to connect with other people. So what I did was I read self-improvement books, and slowly I tried to talk to several people. It was hard at first, but now it's easier for me to talk to people from all walks of life. So doon sinabi ko yung failure ko, being that shy person, and sinabi ko rin kung ano yung ginawa ko to overcome that. I hope nakatulong, and sa mga viewers ni Kim, good luck on your job interview. Thank you.
Tell me, what makes you unique? This is just one of the many questions that you might encounter in a job interview. It might sound simple, but believe me, there's more to it. So, how do you answer the question, what makes you unique? Now, just to level things down, there are plenty of things that make each one of us unique. For instance, I could say that I can work under pressure, I am resilient, I am able to work in a noisy environment, I am focused when I'm doing a task, or I could even put in something personal like I know how to bake a cake, or I have a talent in singing. This list could go on and on and on, but surely I will not admit every single detail just to answer the question, what makes me unique? What you need to realize to answer this question is that you are not actually being asked to tell what makes you unique. At least, not entirely. Confused? Don't be. Let me explain. So, what must you consider to answer that question? First, that question, what makes you unique, is not an opportunity for you to confess those weird habits or those odd, crazy quirks that you have. It is a very tricky question, a trick question, so to speak, that can easily throw off any good candidate. And I do hope that candidate will not be you. So the question is actually a chance to provide you or provide the interviewer insight into how you would be the best candidate for the role, and while proving that you are someone who can think on your feet. It is also a simple test of your self-awareness as well as your communication skills. It is also a way for you to project or radiate that level of confidence and self-esteem that you have. Now, here is the very critical part. How do you actually answer that question, what makes you unique? First and foremost, research. You have to know what is the job description of the role you are applying for. So it is important that you're able to know how relevant or how fit your perks or your competencies are to the context of the job. So you need to know how aligned you are. Okay. The second one, you also need to consider your previous experiences. Try to go back memory lane. Look into your background and your previous experiences. Also avoid generic phrases. What are these generic phrases? I am a hard worker. I am resilient. I know how to work under pressure. I know I come in early for a particular meeting or for my schedule. Those are very generic. And how or what makes them generic? They are not that much compelling. So you need to consider statements that are backed up from your experiences, as well as maybe backed up with a certain level of evidence or proof, just to make them compelling enough to enable your interviewer believe what you are saying. Also include something about yourself, your personality traits, these unique characteristics that you have that would be beneficial once you are on board in the company. So again, think of your traits. How do these help you with the job you're applying for, and eventually how you would excel in the future. Additionally, try not to be a very quote-unquote special applicant. What do I mean with that? Don't be that one-of-a-kind applicant. It's not the thing that your employers are looking for. Please have this in mind, that your employers don't expect you to share something that's unlike any other response or answer that they have heard before with the many applicants that they've interviewed already. What you need to consider is that tell the interviewer how unique your skills are and how you become beneficial to the company. So consider what the employer may find valuable. So please, I do hope that you're able to learn from that, and please tell me what makes you unique.
We're giving you some tips on your interview. This is via request of Miss Kim. Without further ado, I'll give you the 5 tips that I think are very essential in your job interview. Okay, so first one is dressing up. You need to dress up properly. You don't need to wear your best clothes. Don't wear pastel colors, because that will make them remember you, and that can be a bad thing too. So you need to be subtle, clean, professional looking, business-ish kind of thing. So yeah, so you need to make it clean and neat. Okay, also don't wear too much perfume. The stench is appalling. Okay, so make it discreet. A few spray, yeah, 2 sprays would be okay. Then the way you talk. Second is the way you talk. You need to talk in a low tone, and you need to use proper wordings for everything. So you need to be tactful. You need to be tactful, and you need to sound professional and grounded. So you need to go on the low side. Like now, if you talk on a high pitch, on a higher side, on the high side of the spectrum, you kind of sound nervous and doubtful. So another is your vocabularies. So you need to look into that one. You need to use proper wordings. Being tactful is a must here. Avoid using words repetitively, like, do you like him? Don't use those things, okay? I've interviewed once a guy. Yeah, actually I've interviewed two very awful candidates. They are trying to make a smart comment on things. So I reprimanded them for that, and I couldn't hire them because it's very unprofessional. One girl said that I asked her, for you, what is education? She said education is the key. And then Char, she said that. So It's no, you shouldn't be cracking those jokes. And don't joke on your answer on the interview. And then number 3, look attentive. So how do you look attentive? Exactly. So you look at the interviewer directly on their eye and look them in the eye whenever you're talking. I know it feels kind of awkward for some people, but if it is a little awkward, look at here. But don't stare. Staring is a little bit rude. So just look at them directly in the eye and make eye contact and try to focus on the words that she is saying. Don't focus on the actual words. Try to understand the questions that the interviewer is actually asking you, okay? And don't be late. First impressions last, so if you're tardy on your first appointment in the company, they're making an assumption that you will be forever late in case you get hired. So we don't want that. The next point is don't speak negatively about your previous company. So make sure to always say positive things on the company, but not too much. Just be realistic. Don't overpraise them because they would ask you, why did you leave in the first place? And then if they ask you, why did you leave the company? More likely, it should be about your professional growth and personal growth, okay? So they would ask you, if for example, they ask you, why did you leave the company? Just say that I left the company because it is the company's vision and my vision of my future is becoming astray or becoming far from each other. We're not on the same page anymore. So I need to recenter myself, or I want new adventure. I want new challenges. I want to learn a new skill, blah blah blah. That's okay, but never say it's for the salary. Those are for all the wrong things. Yes, that's already there. You don't need to say it out loud, okay? Alright, so, and lastly, be confident. Try to bring yourself in the best way that you can. Whatever you do, just believe in yourself and be positive. There's a big power in positivity, but authenticity in general is really gonna do good for your professional growth. So again, positivity. You need to be pleasant looking, pleasant sounding, and yeah, to sum it up, you need to dress well, you need to speak well, and you need to be confident. So the positive aura, the positive outfit, yeah, and the positive sound that's gonna come out of your mouth. And remember, there is power in spoken words, so you be careful what you're saying. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up. Ciao. Back to you, Kimmy.
Thank you so much for watching my vlog, and thank you to all the people who are very, very kind to send me their video clips in helping all my viewers to know some tips and tricks during a job interview. Sobrang thank you po kay Miss Kat, kay Sir Drew, kay Sir Darby, kay Sir Donovan, at kay Sir PJ. Sobrang nakatulong po ng mga tips na binigay nyo. At sigurado po ako, I'm really sure na magagamit po ito ng mga nagbabalak na mag-apply sa kanilang mga trabaho. At alam ko, sa araw na yon, na pag nag-apply na sila, siguradong pasok na pasok. At alam ko, napapasa sila dahil din natulungan nyo sila dito sa kanilang journey sa pag-apply sa trabaho. Thank you again, guys. I'll see you in my next vlog. Bye!